Yes, people, we are back in Premier League action this weekend. It's a pre-match preview on Freehand Talks Football. Chelsea versus Liverpool, your Club World Cup champions versus your Premier League champions. Oh, it's going to be a big one. Both teams not in the best of form at the moment. Chelsea are going through win-loss with free red card United, as we're going to say. And Liverpool obviously have had the back of two losses, but they might be top of the league, but they're not playing convincingly at all. Players are dipped in form. Players are getting played out of position. Is Slot under pressure? It's crazy to say. He's just won the league convincingly. But is he under pressure? The wheels starting to fall off? We'll find out in this episode. So in this pre-match preview, I'm just going to discuss the recent kind of form and history against Chelsea versus Liverpool. A lot to kind of go through. Old players, new players, players that have played for both clubs. We know of certain Mr. Mo Salah. Going to run through my pre-match preview with who I think is going to be in the starting lineup. Deserves to be in it. We've had a few injuries recently. Also had a few red cards, as we know. So it's about being strategic in this game against the champions. If you stick around to the end, I'm going to give him a predicted scoreline is going to be. But before we get into that, people, if you could please give this new channel a like, a subscribe if you want to see more content going forward. I'm going to be doing this for pre-match and post-match previews, especially for Chelsea, but I do like to give other bits of previewing content on other football teams. Not to be biased as such, but it's just I love my football, so that's what I do. Bit of FIFA here and there as well, but my gaming content. So yeah, if you can please hit a like, hit subscribe, and we'll get into this pre-match preview for Liverpool. Chelsea, Liverpool, so many mad battles over the years. Think of the Champions Leagues in the prime Josie era. They were just some crazy games we had going on against Liverpool. We were always cream of the crop when it came to the league, but for some reason they could always just kind of nick us to the Champions League. They've done amazing through the years. And then on the other hand, the tables are kind of turned in the sense of Liverpool are now battling on all fronts, and we are kind of in that limbo series like they were. Only difference is we're doing it with a lot of young players. They didn't really do it with young players. They just kind of they threw together anybody and everybody. The Roy Hodgson era especially, that was horrendous for Liverpool fans. I think they'd be first to admit that. But as we welcome Liverpool to the Bridge tomorrow at 5:30 p.m, there's a few talking points we need to go through first. First thing is addressing our discipline levels. This is not good enough at the moment. I know some of them can't be helped, and I'm not being funny. That was never a red card for João Pedro the other night. The first one wasn't a booking. He got pushed in to the back, or then he put his elbow up. Shouldn't probably raise his arm, but he did get pushed forward. As soon as you get nudged forward, you're going to it's an automatic reaction to move your arms up. And the second one, he had a high foot, but he didn't touch the boy. The boy went down holding his face. He didn't even touch him. I think he skiffed his bloody arm. So, in my opinion, it wasn't even close to being a booking for any of the challenges. Is what it is. We move, but I think now it needs to be addressed. We need to calm down. We're too young. We're making too many rash and raw mistakes, and the referees right now aren't at a level that should be helping anybody. VAR doesn't help them. VAR is getting slowed down that much that a peck in the cheek would look like a porno these days. So what we need to do is not give the referees any ammunition to go to that monitor or that screen, because it's just going to bite us in the backside. Both teams aren't really at the races at the moment. Chelsea's dipping inconsistencies up and down, win, lose, lose, win. It's always 2 steps forward, 1 step back, in my opinion. Actually, right now, it's probably a step forward, 2 steps back. So it's kind of like we need this more than them. I think this can be a bit of a season-defining game, especially going into the international break. If we can break them down, stop them from playing football, nullify the attack, because let's be honest, it's a game Salah usually shows up in, but he's not showed up at all this season. So if we can be on him, Cucurella, do what he does best, through him, on him like a rash, don't let him turn, don't let him get time to move into positions where he can actually affect the game, then it could be a kind of good game for Chelsea. And as I said, if we can go into this international break with another win under our belt, hopefully a clean sheet and hopefully 11 men on the pitch. But if we can go into this game, players getting right back into their groove. João Pedro shows back up to the races. He's been a bit off it recently, but he hasn't really had the support. I think it's a game where Esteval can really thrive as well. Liverpool have came back from Turkey. I know they made a few changes, but changes aren't really happening for them at the moment. And as I said before the preview started, Slot could start to go into a little bit of a, not a pressure as such, but he could start to get questioned by some other outside noises and some fans. Carragher's already started to have a little bit of a nip on him. Carragher does what he does, he hates us. He's always been like that. But now he's starting to kind of question a bit of tactics here and there. Why Szoboszlai playing right back? He had that one good game against Arsenal, then he scored a free kick, albeit it was an amazing free kick, but if he didn't score that free kick, he wasn't getting talked about in that game. So they're starting to make these little minor tweaks here and there, and it's not happening for them. Kanati as well, things are getting coming up with him learning Duolingo like Trent done, a bit of Spanish, so he can kind of be moving into Real Madrid's quarters next season. So I think things could get a little bit ropey for Slot, and also Slot is a bad loser. You see him, obviously the weekend when they got beat off Palace, they've done that all season. They've won games in the last minute or the last kick of the game, being a minute or two over time. It happened against them, and Slot was going mental on the touchline. He's not a good loser. So if we can kind of get the authority in this game quickly, get on the early front foot, get the crowd on our side. Last season, Enzo scored after, I think, 7 or 8 minutes, and that really helped move us into a smooth momentum for the whole game. We can do it this game, go and win the game, really, really test this Liverpool team. It'll be an amazing season, start to the season for us, rather, and it'll really put some pressure on them going into an international break, because they'll need to start rethinking their tactics. And if Salah drops another stinker, it's going to be amazing. Another player that hopefully doesn't show to the party, I think he's on 009. Yes, you know it, Florian Wirtz. He couldn't kick his own arse at the moment. Honestly, he's not playing well. German coming to English, not many players can do it. Certainly Michael Ballack done it. He done it to great effect. But not many of them seem to make that transition over, and it just doesn't really seem to have the same effect of how they played over there. Some person is playing over in Germany right now, had an amazing career as such as in goals scored, but never really won a trophy or ever won a trophy in England. But he did play for a team that were never going to compete, let's be honest. But Harry Kane didn't really score 30 plus goals every season here. He had, I think he done it once, maybe twice he scored 30 goals in a season. Germany is scoring more goals for games. I think he's got 109 goals in 105 games. Like, that's crazy numbers, and he's 32, going into 33 now. It just kind of shows German football for a national team has been elite for years, but the league just isn't what it is. It hasn't been for a while, and that's why some players coming over just don't have the same effect on games that they do if they're going the opposite way. But if you look at us right now with Jamie Gittins, for example, don't want to target him again. I put a post up this the other day, and I got not negative feedback, but a few fans were like, what are you saying this for? A lot of fans were on my side on this, and you don't want to ever target and pinpoint a Chelsea player, never for the wrong reasons anyway, but he's just not been good enough at all. He's not shown any sort of sign of potential, and I think 50 million for somebody of his standards, one, it's far too much money for unproven talent, so the board's going wrong again. I know he doesn't put the price tag on his head, that comes from above, but he's never a £50 million player. Lucky if he's a £15 million player. I know they're paying for prospect and potential, but he's only a couple of years younger than Noni, and he's about 5 streets below Noni in terms of football. Noni was progressing, getting better. Need to give this boy a chance. You can't just throw anyone under the bus. But if I compare it to when Mudryk came on the scene, Mudryk might not have had the goals and assists. He doesn't really look like the finished article at all. But Mudryk was playing great passes. He was skinning folk for fun. He showed signs of a good young player coming from a different league. This boy's not showing anything. If anything, he's shown that the recruitment has been shocking, and it's probably going to be harder for him to get into this team now because he's not showing up to coming into the winter stage that he's not ready to play. We're going to have a busy, hectic schedule again in winter, especially Champions League thrown in. You want to have your best players available for all games. This boy's not at the races. I don't see a way for him to get into the team, and it could be a loan in January with us going out into the market and getting somebody else to replace him. If you think back to our kind of recent more performances against Liverpool over the last few years, we've not really got the better of them. I know we beat them in the last tail end of last season. Should have potentially beat them at their ground last season. We played really well. 2-1 they beat us, but they got a penalty that wasn't a penalty, and they just weren't playing well. We dominated them. Slot even said we were the hardest opponents that season. So last season was just one of the weird ones with them. But a couple of years before that, they were battering us for fun. And we've drew loads of games as well, especially 2 boring cup final games with them. European games back in the prime era of football was where it was at Liverpool. Hopefully we can start off with a double win against them, win in the last season, win at the start of the season, move in, try and get a bit of momentum going after the international break, especially with the likes of Palmer coming back after the international break. But tomorrow is so crucial. We have to hit the ground running. Don't care who comes into place. We're not going to have some senior defenders at the back. Let's be honest, Chalobah's out, suspended, and he's not really done much in the last couple of games to prove that he's worthy of a spot. We're missing Colwell tremendously. It's just, I just think and I hope that the boys show up. I know people have been nursing injuries left, right, and centre, but if we can just get this win and get into the international break, players can get a little bit of a rest. It's really going to see us good going into the next part of the season. Before we get into who I think my predicted lineup's going to be, I just want to mention one thing and one thing only. If you can think back over the last 10, 15, 20 years, that's when you can think of the prime Premier League era of football. I know we can go way back into football, like into the archives, even like in the 90s with Zola and his free kick against Liverpool, things like that. But I'm talking about the tens, the noughties, when Chelsea were an elite real force and Liverpool were winning Champions Leagues, but they weren't really the elite force that they are now. I want to know what your best moment is over the periods of time. I'm going to give one special mention, and it's a certain Mourinho running down the touchline, and it's a certain Mr. Gerrard with Denver bag slipping, all slippy G shouts for the faithful. That is, if you think of peak football, they were going for the title. We stopped them in their tracks. We done a job on them, especially with young players like Callas in the team. No Ashley Cole to the second half. No John Terry. It was Frank Lampard as a captain. Mo Salah played in that game for Chelsea. He celebrated with the Chelsea fans and the Chelsea players. You think mad moments in football and elite moments in football, that game right there and that moment of Gerrard slipping when it was all with their captain waiting to win that league, I think that's just prime Premier League football. And I think football works in weird, wonderful ways. And we've had some great times, we've had some bad times. But for them as a whole, as a club, that was a really low moment. And hopefully the more or something like that mad happens again and we can just go and win this game. So, into this lineup, I'm going to start Bob Sanchez in goal. Kept a clean sheet the other night. Passing was a bit so-so. When he's on it, he's great. When he's not on it, he's meh. So hopefully we've got the right Robin goal this time, not the Man United car crashing goal. Back four, we're going to start Reece James right back. Gusto done a decent performance the other night, actually, considering his cameo was horrendous. But Reece James starts for me all day long in this game. We need his leadership in this game. Centre halves, we've got no Chalobah. I think my right centre back is going to be young Josh. We need a right-footed right centre back playing against a left-footed left centre back playing with us. We need that stability in the team. So I'm going to go Josh, right centre back. Left centre back, Badia Shield. You know what? I thought he actually played not too bad the other day, so give him his flowers. He gets a lot of stickies. I'm usually a scapegoat in Chelsea games, but he actually done really well for his first start back since the Club World Cup. But yeah, he actually shown he's got potential in that game. His passing can be really good. Just his mistakes he needs to cut out. But he'll have to be an older head in this team, so hopefully that will help him, inspire him, be a little bit better. And of course, the ever dependable Marc Cucurella, left back. Double pivot, you know who it is. Fernandes, Caicedo, only ones I think we've got available apart from Lavia, who thankfully is back and he's out of hibernation for Liverpool, what he likes to do. These two boys have to be on it from the first whistle to the last whistle. I want them cutting out passes. I want them cutting lanes. I want Enzo playing long diags over the top. I want Enzo getting into the box, arriving to score goals. I want Caicedo doing what he does best and absolutely nullifying the play, stifling them, getting through them, getting a card when he needs to. Just stop them from playing football and we could be okay. My front three behind the striker. So I'm going to go Pedro Neto right wing. Thought he was electric the other night. He played really, really well. That kind of performance again. I'm sure he will run rings around Kirkes or Robertson, whoever's going to play. Centre attacking mid, Estevao came on, done a lovely cameo. That wee jinking run he done through players. Brilliant, absolutely top class. Left winger, Garnacho. Thought he actually played really well the other night. I know he got credited the assist for the own goal, but he actually did. He got a lot of balls over the top. He cut in a lot. Only one thing he could work on was his shooting. That was appalling. Apart from that, he was getting to the byline. He was making crosses. He actually had some good decision making on him. So Garnacho is my left winger. Striker for Red Card FC, none other than João Pedro. Hopefully he shows back up. He's been a bit of a hit and miss recently, but I just don't think he's getting the service that he deserves. And I also think he's running on empty as well. He needs a break. But Mark Guiu's obviously got this term in his contract apparently that if he plays any sort of minute, then he's kind of go on loan, which is a stinking decision from the board to bring him back. George has been putting up there and he's doing okay. He's just not a striker in the slightest. I'd rather have him as my left winger, second option instead of Gittins, to be honest. But hey, we don't make the decisions. It's the guys up top that make them. As much as they're crazy and they're shocking, we just need to trust their judgment, which I don't. So yeah, we move. That's my predicted lineup for the team, guys. Let me know in the comments who you think you would have in place of my players who I've put out there. If you think it's okay, it's what you probably wouldn't change, then please let me know. And going into predictions for what I think the scoreline will be, I think we are going to struggle, but not struggle as much as other games. I think we're actually going to be a bit more up for it than we have at other games. This is one of the games where Liverpool come into town. We usually do play well. We put on a bit of a performance. Even if they have a lot more of the ball, we usually the ones that are the antagonists with the ball and do something with it. With their leaky defence as well, I think this could be a really good game to capitalise and get players back to the party and back on the score sheet. So I think we're going to win 2-1. Yep, we're going to go 2-0 up and Liverpool are going to score near the end. Salah's not going to do anything. The Wirtz isn't going to do anything. Isak's not going to do anything. We're just going to play well and we're going to get the job done. Let me know in the comments below, people, what you think the scoreline is going to be. 2-1, I think we're going to win. Of course, anything can happen. We don't know what's going to happen on the day, but this is what I can just give my honest opinion and what I think will happen. So yeah, Chelsea 2-1 winners. Get back up that table. Liverpool get some slot under pressure. Wirtz stays at 009 going into a 0010. We win. Happy days. If you want to see some more of this content going forward, all things Chelsea, please hit a like, hit subscribe. Thank you for the support. Thank you for watching. And come on the Chelsea. I'll see you tomorrow.